And I ask you, where do you stand on the issue of abortion? Lately, we have seen a wave of legislation in a woman's right to choose being overturned to protect the unborn child. We have come so far since Roe versus Wade. For example, let me ask you a question. Where does life begin? Does it begin at conception? Does it begin after birth? And anyway, whose right is it to choose? Is it the mother's right? Is it the father's right? Is it the fetus's right? And let me ask you this, what about the case of rape or incest? I really want to know your comment. Please go to my website, www.wakeupamericatoday.com, and please comment on this.
The Gourmet Breakfast Place awaits to serve you the most fabulous breakfast and lunch menu you have ever tasted. Their beautiful dining room is spacious and relaxing, a perfect place to meet friends and family. The Gourmet Breakfast Place also offers catering for any event and size. Open Monday through Saturday for breakfast and lunch, and Sundays for brunch. The Gourmet Breakfast Place, 838 Old George Washington Highway in the Deep Creek area of Chesapeake.
On today's show, we have Aaron Zabel, the Director of Marketing for Planned Parenthood for Southeastern Virginia. After the commercial, we'll be back with Aaron. Thank you.
If you have been suffering from type 1 or 2 diabetes, then you need to know about the Herbal Pharmacy's Ultimate Diabetes Formula, made from all natural herbs like cinnamon and garlic, and it promotes safe sugar levels. For over 23 years, Dr. Lewis has been promoting natural solutions for health problems, like the Ultimate Diabetes Formula. Visit Herbal Pharmacy at 4215 Granby Street in Norfolk, or call 622-5828. Herbal Pharmacy.
Aaron, I want to thank you for joining us today on Wake Up America.
Thank you for having me.
You know, we're going to go ahead and get started in the interview. I want to start off, go ahead and telling us a little bit about yourself. What do you do?
Sure. Well, I'm the Director of Marketing and Public Relations for Planned Parenthood of Southeastern Virginia, which is, we're one of 88 affiliates under the Planned Parenthood Federation of America umbrella.
Okay.
So I handle all of the communications work, public relations, marketing, community outreach, and I also handle the education department.
Wow. So you're really busy.
Yeah. Such as a nonprofit, you know, everyone wears a lot of hats.
Yeah. I just want to go right into it. Let me ask you this. What is Planned Parenthood? Because a lot of people don't understand what is Planned Parenthood.
Right. Well, basically, we're an organization that's there to provide affordable reproductive health and family planning services, so we're low cost. We're also here to provide comprehensive, medically accurate, honest, age-appropriate sex education to people. That's something that's really kind of lacking in our society. A lot of young people aren't learning the information they need to make healthy decisions, and we're seeing the ramifications in the teen pregnancy rate and the sexually transmitted infection rate. So we really feel strongly that everyone deserves to have the medically accurate information they need to make good decisions. So we're kind of, twofold in that we want to provide services that people can afford, and we also want to provide education so they can make good decisions.
Okay, wow. Who was the founder of Planned Parenthood, and why did she start Planned Parenthood?
Well, the founder was a woman named Margaret Sanger. She was very forward-thinking. She lived in New York City. She looked around and saw what was happening to her counterparts, women that were having 10, 12 children, which is the average number of children a woman will have in her lifetime if she doesn't use any birth control. Women were dying. They were leaving their children behind, dying in childbirth. They weren't able to afford these huge families that they were having. They didn't really have any means of planning a family or keeping a family at a reasonable number, and so she really wanted to provide that freedom to women and couples to be able to have a more manageable number of children. And so that was really her goal, to provide family planning services, namely birth control, to women so they could properly plan their families and provide for those families. Right.
I did a little homework on her, and she was very very outspoken. Yeah. She really had an issue with African American and immigrants. She really some of her quotes in her book, she said stuff like reckless breeders and people who are poor shouldn't have kids, disgrace to society. Is that what Planned Parenthood
No.
thinks?
Well, and I think a lot of, her quotes have been taken out of context over time. Sometimes you have to put things in historical context. I know that really her number one goal was to provide women of all backgrounds, all cultures, all races, the means to plan for and provide for their families. So, like I said, it's hard for me to comment on all of the quotes that have been taken out of context.
But basically what she stood for, overall, eugenics. The eugenics. What was that? Because, she had a big role in eugenics.
Well, she, at the time that she was trying to further the birth control, message, this was like 1908, so people weren't very friendly. Birth control actually didn't become legal for couples until 1965. So, she was really looking for support in all different places. I don't know much about her role in the eugenics movement. It is definitely not something that Planned Parenthood stands for today. I mean, today Planned Parenthood is there for women of all backgrounds who need affordable reproductive health services, and that's really what we've been doing here locally for more than 65 years.
Yeah. And I hope not, because when I read this article about the founder, I was like, oh my God, she was something else. She had adulterous affair on her husband, and she believed that women should be independent and have other sex partners. I mean, and I read some of her books, and she was a very interesting woman.
Well, I think that the really important thing that came out of her quest was that today, we do have access to all different types of birth control. We have, education that allows us to properly plan families, to stay safe from sexually transmitted infections. She was really, a pioneer in providing those things for women. So, there might have been other things that she was doing or talking about.
Yeah.
But really,
a lot of people used to say that, I know for a fact from reading it, reading her novels and everything, she was really, they really was trying to control the population. You know what I'm saying? They, like comments were made like, we should make people fill out applications before they have kids to get control of the population. She was a very detailed founder of Planned Parenthood.
I've never heard that exact, heard that. But, all I can say is that, tell you what Planned Parenthood stands for today. What we've been
So
standing
you
for.
agree that your goals today differ from the goals from the beginning?
It's hard for me to comment on that because I honestly haven't done a whole lot of research.
Because a lot of people, it's a lot of, about Margaret Sanger, a lot of controversial issues about her. Yeah, so I wanted to touch on that. I really did, because people think it's Planned Parenthood. She started this about population control. That's what it was all about.
Well,
you know what I'm saying? Birth control. People who are less fortunate than others shouldn't have kids. She had a lot of interesting ideas.
From my understanding, it really stemmed from a place of giving women, the ability to provide for the number of children that they could really take care of and provide for. So, and again, that's been our goal all along, to really give people the freedom, the access to health services, the education, to really do that, to have control of their families and their own reproductive health.
And, after I ask you this, we're going to take a quick break. But let me ask you this. Why is there so much? Because I know Planned Parenthood, you guys also do abortions. Why is there so much controversial issues regarding Planned Parenthood? I see the protesters out there. I see a lot of stuff in the news. Abby Johnson, that was a big thing with her. And I want to touch on her also. Why is there so much protest against this abortion issue?
I don't know. I think people have, their own individual reasons for protesting abortion. I think really the conversation should be centered around prevention, because that's really what we stand for. We want to give people the ability to prevent unplanned pregnancy. Abortion is something that we believe should be safe. It's a legal
Right.
procedure, but it's definitely something that we don't want people to have to decide to do. We'd much rather people use birth control, and you better, have healthy relationships, better be able to plan their families, so they're not put in a
Right.
position to have to make that decision. So I really can't speak for, the folks that protest. All I can tell you is, what we really stand for,
Right.
which is really prevention and providing education, giving people
Exactly.
access, because the number one reason why people choose abortion is economic. I mean, if you talk to individuals that come to the health center, typically they already have at least one child, and they make the decision with their partner that they can't afford another one. So they've had a contraceptive failure. I mean, that's just overwhelmingly
Right.
the reason why people decide to choose that option. So, I mean,
Right.
life is about choices, and it's about options, and, really we want to provide people the means to prevent unplanned pregnancy so they're not making that really difficult decision.
Right. We're going to take a commercial break, and we'll be back with Aaron.